Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, January the 5th, and I just wanted to say how great it was to see you guys last night at the meeting at the Triangle. It was a great meeting. The honesty and resentment, man. I took a lot away from that. But one thing that really stood out to me was the one alcoholic who shared. Her name was Savannah, I believe. She said it was her first time sharing, and she was really nervous and apprehensive and all that. But she shared, and I took a lot away from her share. And that's why I always say, every Tuesday night, you guys hear me say, you never know who needs to hear what it is you have to say. So it doesn't matter if you're 24 hours sober or I don't give a shit if you're, an hour sober. If you come into a room, if you come talking to me, wanting to talk to me about your problem, I'm all ears. You don't have to have a set amount of sobriety in order to talk to me. That's not how it works, right? In my book, that's not how it works. For some folks, maybe so, but for me, man, what she spoke, it really triggered some thoughts in my head last night. So. It was just a great meeting all around. I want to talk, speaking of meetings, I want to talk about a meeting I had early this morning. I got up and went and did my run, knocked out another 5.5 miles this morning, so feeling pretty good. But I stopped at the store and I ran into an old acquaintance of mine. She used to work at the liquor store, one of the liquor stores that I went to an awful lot. I called it my late night liquor store. When all the other liquor stores were closed, this store was open and she happened to be working typically. She was usually the one working. And so anyway, she saw me this morning and she was staring at me and she's looking at me. She's like, I know you, but I don't know you. And I said, yeah, you do know me. And we started talking and she's like, oh my God. She said, you look so different. There's a brightness to you in your eyes. She said, I look nothing at all like what I used to look like the last time she saw me. And keep in mind, this is the same woman who would sell me my massive amounts of Crown Royal, and then once that got too expensive, I had to go to Wild Turkey. So the last time she saw me, I was still well off into my addiction. Well, come to find out, she too is in her own addiction. So I definitely ask for your prayers for her. But she says, I got the chance to talk to her this morning about AA and about the 12 steps. And she was adamant. She's like, I've been able to do it on my own in the past. So I said, okay, that I encourage you to do so. Follow your own conscience, as the big book says, right? So, but as we were talking, I was thinking, it's okay for us to look back and see how far we've come. It's perfectly okay. Her and I got to do that this morning, when we were talking. I was able to look back and, she was able to tell me things that I don't even fucking remember, honestly. I kind of vaguely remember, but because I was just so drunk. But, it's okay for us to look back and see how far we've come. And there's two good reasons. One, because we get to see how far we come, right? We get to see I was way over there and now I'm here. So that's one reason. The second reason is to remind you, and this is for me anyway, to remind myself of where I never want to go back to. You see, I was miserable, fucking miserable. We're talking suicidal, ready to eat a hollow point, right? That's where I was at. I had given up on life. I didn't feel I had an adequate relationship with my kids, with my wife, with anybody on this planet. And of course I didn't, because I was always drunk. No wonder I didn't have it. No wonder I felt inadequate. I was always drunk. I always put my booze and my addiction before everyone else. So of course I felt inadequate. But I'd given up, and it was important for me, especially this morning, just being able to sit and talk with her. It reminded me of where I don't want to go back to. Not being able to function as a normal human being. I got a freaking tree out in my backyard that I've been having fun while I've been cussing about it. Don't get me wrong. Yes, I've been aggravated as hell about it. But guess what? It's been fun being able to chop up the wood and stack it, being able to move my body, the very body that God gave me to move. He gave me this life to enjoy my life, and I couldn't enjoy my life because I couldn't do anything with the vessel that He had given me because I was too busy getting drunk. So yeah, it's okay for us to take a step back, look at how far we've come, just so we can say, damn, we've come a pretty far way. And then the second reason why we want to be able to do that every now and then is to be able to go back and say, that's a place I never want to go back to. And for me, that is abso-fucking-lutely a place I will never go back to. Absolutely, will never go back to. Where is that place at? On page 25 of the big book. The very bottom paragraph, Bill says, if you are as seriously an alcoholic as we were, we believe there is no middle-of-the-road solution. My wife was the one who pointed that out, too. We were in a position where life was becoming impossible. And if we had passed into the region from which there is no return from human aid, through human aid, we had but two alternatives. One was to go on to the bitter end, blotting out the consciousness of our intolerable life, of our intolerable situation, as best as we could. Or the other was to accept spiritual help. So we were in such a position, our life had become impossible, had become unmanageable. Sound familiar? And we had gone so far that there was no human aid that could help us. So that only left two alternatives. One, just keep blotting out the consciousness until I finally succumb to death, until the alcohol or the drugs finally kills us, right? That's one alternative. Or the second alternative is to accept spiritual help. And thank God for the steps of AA, because you know what? That broke down the walls of religion in my mind. Broke down the walls of religion and allowed me to connect to my higher power, whom I choose to call God. So I definitely want to share those words. I do want to share a word of caution, though. Share a word of caution. And Tommy and I were talking about this last night. We can't get complacent. Matter of fact, I like to say it, we can't get comfortable. See, it's okay to stop, turn around, take a look. Hey, I've come a really far way. And damn, that's a place I never want to go back to. But if we stay still, admiring our work, admiring how far we've come, we're staying still. We're starting to get into this comfort. And that's when we start becoming complacent. I've always said it's good to be on the right track, folks, but your ass will go get run over if you just sit there. We've got to keep moving forward. So fine, turn around, take a break, right? Look, see how far you've come. Admire where you've come from. Remind yourself that's where I never want to go back to, and then get the hell as far away from that point. Keep moving forward. Get as far away as possible. All right? So I love you guys. I hope you got something from this message, and I will hopefully be talking to you guys throughout this weekend. And just remember, folks, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.